Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
And it's time once again.
Right then.
Vince!
Yes.
I can see the future. And I see that you're going to once again recommend more Ghostbusters things.
What?
Okay, I don't see the future. I see the thing you have.
It's not like it's the 30th anniversary or anything.
You know, I actually haven't heard anybody talking about that.
Yeah.
I guess I forgot that it was the 30th anniversary. Wow. Too bad we couldn't have gotten... Okay, I almost said it's too bad we couldn't have gotten the next Ghostbusters film on the 30th anniversary, but then there's the whole, I don't know if I want that thing, so...
The Ghostbusters 2 movie has been released on Blu-ray. And the thing I'm going to recommend has been released. Maddie Collector has just released 2 Ghostbusters 2-packs. There's been...
Okay, so there's stuff.
Yeah, there's been a boatload of specialty pop figures. And now that I've mentioned that, I'm going to mention the regular pop figures. I'm recommending the Ghostbusters Pop Figures. I'm going to open this thing. Now, what strikes me funny immediately about this box, it says on the very bottom, I'm not going to show you guys because it's too small to see, not a toy.
But it is a toy.
It is? It's not a toy, it's an action figure, Mom! God!
That's so weird. Like, even if it's supposed to be just for display or something, no, it's a toy. Look at it.
It's a toy.
Is there some reason I couldn't play with that?
I don't quite know. Now
that means that I have given my kid things that are not toys because he plays with the Power Ranger pop figures, Vince, and they're exactly like this. What? Why can't we play with the? Okay, you know what? I go my own way, Vince. I'm an independent person. I go my own way. Right now, I'm gonna break the rules. I'm freaking playing with this, okay? Seriously. We have now played with these non-toys. Deal with that, Maddie Collector. Anyway, go ahead, Vince.
Which,
That's a toy.
This is a toy. So, he fits in here very well, and
I just love that. So much fun. He's got his head popped out.
I think this is great. Now, they've only made a few of the pop rides. The ones I've seen in stores are this one. Obviously, this one just came out just a few weeks ago, and it was slated for release earlier this year, and then they pushed it back, and then they pushed it back, and then they pushed it back. I found some websites that said they were available. Well, I found one website that said it was available for order, and then I had some that said sold out, and I went, wait, when did this thing come out? When was this available? And I happened to be walking through Vintage one day, and I saw this thing. Now, I saw this thing after I pre-ordered it from a website. And I went, oh, good, I'm just going to go ahead and order this. Whatever, whenever it comes out, it comes out. And then they kept pushing the date back on me, and I went, but I've already given you money.
And you'd have this happen with other things.
This is ridiculous. And so then I was walking through Vintage Stock here in Overland Park, and I went, oh, well, look at that. There it is. So I bought it and canceled my other order. It's like, well, you guys have given me ample amount of time to cancel this order, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I bought it from Vintage. Now, I have this one.
That's the way to do business.
That's right. I was like, deal with it. So I have this one. And I also have the other 3 guys, the Slimer and the Stay Puft. So I have the main line.
Oh, you have the Stay Puft too?
Yeah. My wife gave me...
I've seen him, but I've almost bought him for you before, so I'm glad to know now that you have them. I have to stay away from Ghostbusters with Vince because he has everything.
Well, I don't have all the like fun little I don't know, ice trays and stuff like that. That stuff's cool. The things I got from my wife.
File it away.
What I got from my wife was I got the 3 main Ghostbusters, Peter, Ray, and Egon, and then I also got Slimer and Stay Puft. And Stay Puft is a 15-inch figure, so it's a little bit bigger. Like, it makes sense. Personally, I think that Groot should have been a 15-inch figure, but he's not. He's the same size as Rocket, so get that through your brain. And
they're not to scale unless they make the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though, is that Groot should have been a big one.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That would have been cool. I don't care that Star-Lord and Rocket are the same size. I want Groot to not be the same size. But, so...
I want a Rocket pop figure, because that sounds awesome.
It is pretty...
I haven't seen him. Is he pretty cool?
Yeah, I like the pop figure.
Okay.
Sorry. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So there are some other ones. There's a... and there's little diddly bobbers in there, and his feet have holes in them, so it sticks down. I've heard a lot of people say things like, so why does Winston come with the car? Do they suspect that nobody would want to buy Winston unless they bought the car to get Winston with it? And I said, well, Winston's like the main driver.
I was going to say, wasn't he hired as the driver?
He's he was hired
not
as
just the driver,
extra
but
help. But,
extra help, yeah.
He's kind of become famous as the driver of the Ecto-1, so the wheels don't move. I wish they kind of did.
I gotta say something.
Or I kind of wish they did.
If the wheels don't move,
I wish they kind of
it makes
did.
a little bit. I wish they would at least sort of move, but like just go back and forth, even if they don't go all the way around.
But you can only parallel park.
I don't know. I'm not gonna say the not a toy thing makes sense. But
it makes more sense.
It makes a little more sense if the wheels don't move, because it's not really meant to be scooted. I don't like that, though. Why don't the wheels move?
Yeah, I guess they're meant for display purposes,
I love
but they're
it, though.
so simple.
This looks so cool.
And like it's shiny, and the spots are supposed to be
and
chrome.
It's fat and hilarious.
And I love the fact that their heads stick out of the top of the car. I've also seen the DeLorean, and all of these people, their heads stick right out of the top. There was the DeLorean. There's the one that's everywhere, the Batmobile, and I believe it's a '60s Batmobile.
Yep, there's a 60s one. Is there a Tumbler, or was that some other line? No, there's some other line that did a Tumbler. That was still like the kind of cutesy figures, but with the weird proportions, but not pop.
They also did, or at least they're going to do. I haven't seen this one in stores. I've heard that they're going to do the car from the Al Pacino movie, the gangster movie, Scarface. So I've heard that they're going to do that. There's a few more that I've seen released recently, but since they're not released, I don't know. I'm not sure they're going to do them. Things have been canceled before with concept art. So I recommend this pop figure because it's so sleek. And then the
have they done a Starsky and Hutch one?
I don't.
I'd be really surprised if they didn't do that.
You would think that they would do Starsky and Hutch. They would also. You'd think they do it like a Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard, yeah.
Yeah, those two would be pretty recognizable vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So quickly, I'll talk about the convention exclusives, which I don't have. So they came out with 4 convention exclusives for San Diego Comic-Con. They had the metallic Slimer with slimed Peter. They had the 4 guys covered in marshmallow. They had
that's cool.
Yeah, I like that. They have a glow-in-the-dark Stay Puft and a glow-in-the-dark Slimer, and then more recently, for New York Comic Con, they've released a Ecto-1 with Egon, both slimed. So that's cool. I don't know if I'm going to get those because, it gets kind of ridiculously expensive to get the convention exclusives, and I already have these. So, whatever. That's just me being all bitter and stuff. But so I have the line, and I like these things. I do recommend the pop figures. I just kind of wanted to talk about what all is out there, and I do recommend it because it is a pretty looking figure. So indeed, what do you recommend today, Cap?
Well, today I'm going to recommend something for Star Trek enthusiasts, but also for TV enthusiasts. This is a neat thing, I think, just overall for folks that want to know more about the history of television, and we're really lucky that we got this. This is the first season this is a book called These Are the Voyages, covering the first season of original series, and this is the most in-depth history of the production of original series that we'll ever have. Look how thick it is. This is just the first season. It's amazing. I don't know when the rest of it's supposed to come out. This came out last year and was sent to me by the folks that made it as a review copy. I'm just now getting around to talking about it. I've not finished it yet. I'm working through it, and I'm just going to recommend it today, and then eventually I want to do a proper review and do a full-blown discussion of some of what's in here and why every Star Trek fan really needs to get their hands on this and at least skim it, if not read it cover to cover. So the guy who wrote this is Mark Cushman, who did another thing similar to this for I Spy. He's a 60s television enthusiast and also a screenwriter. He's written episodes of Diagnosis Murder and various things, and he pitched one of my very favorite episodes of Next Generation, Sarek, and got it made. Which is really kind of interesting because he wrote this, and he's been chronicling the history of the production of Star Trek for years, and he's a huge original series fan. Sarek was the first Next Generation episode that crossed between original series and TNG, brought in a TOS character, or at least did it as an episode concept. We had elderly McCoy for 5 seconds in the pilot, but yeah. So that's kind of neat. I didn't realize he pitched Sarek until I read this. And this was something that Roddenberry asked him to do back in the 80s. and he was so busy with other things he never got around to doing it, and then Roddenberry passed away and never got to see it. And I want to say, it's been a while since this came out. I want to say he was responsible for one of the early like 80s or early 90s Trek documentaries and put some of his research in there, although I don't remember if that's true or not. So don't quote me on that. I might be wrong about that. But anyway, so basically what this is it goes through every episode of original series in ridiculous detail, sometimes excruciating and obnoxious detail. And that's why I say there are places that you kind of want to skim, and other places that you really want to really pay attention to, because what this is it's kind of a textbook encyclopedic history of the show. So like every single like letter and memo and thing that he found in all the old cabinets and things at Paramount is in here. Not just discussed, but much of it is simply reprinted verbatim, and it's organized well, it's structured well, but a lot of it is, we're talking about this particular aspect of this actor or this producer or writer, and by the way, everybody who was ever involved, you get at least a brief history of their back work before they get on Star Trek, and then what they did with Star Trek. It's incredibly comprehensive. I've never read anything this comprehensive about anything. It's insane. And so structurally, what it'll do is it'll be talking about something like that, and then all of a sudden it'll go, okay, in order to back up what I'm talking about, I'll give you like this memo that you can read. So he's constantly proving things that he's talking about, because a lot of what's in here is stuff that nobody knew, because you would need all of that empirical physical stuff that was there to know this stuff. There's so much that we thought we understood about the making of this show that has been either disproven or shown to be not exactly accurate. You get multiple sides of things, and boy, I wish this could exist for everything, because the big thing I have gotten out of this, besides just a lot of really cool, interesting tidbits, like I didn't realize how involved Lucille Ball was in making Star Trek happen. Really? If it weren't for Lucille Ball, we would have never had Star Trek. And like I said, non-Trekkies, people who just are interested in the history of television, should read this, because you get kind of like a history of what making TV was like, and how difficult it was to get shows on the air, and how much red tape there was and bureaucracy and stuff through the lens of the making of the show. It's not just about Star Trek and the canon and like the changes and things. If you're a big, huge Trek aficionado like I am, and you see like, here's what a first draft of a script was like, and here's how they changed it and all of that, that's very interesting for people like me. But for people like you, the history of Desilu Studios is in this. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that non-Trekkies that care about pop culture will only get here. And it really enlightens us about the history of all this, and it's incredible research. I've never seen anything like it. I think it's just wonderful. What else? It's sometimes the prose gets a little bit, and I'll talk about this when I review it, sometimes the prose can get a little bit cutesy, because like it'll get weirdly a personal tone from Cushman will suddenly kind of like make its way into it, when so much of it feels very kind of, I don't want to say deadpan, but just like very formal and encyclopedic, and then all of a sudden it gets kind of lighter and more conversational, and that's sort of weird. So it's sometimes a little bit tonally dissonant, but not too often. It hasn't taken me out too much dealing with that. But like, the biggest thing that I've gotten, I meant to say this a minute ago, the biggest thing I've gotten out of this is realizing just how much you can't fully understand a thing unless you were there. And how we oversimplify things so much based on just like broad sweeping things we've heard. Things like, for instance, with Star Trek, things like the fans saved the franchise. Not entirely accurate. We thought that. I've read part of this now. Not entirely accurate. It affected it, certainly. Fan interest certainly affected it. But but we always thought for the longest time that Star Trek had terrible ratings almost all the way through. Not true. And I've seen the rating sheets looking at this, and it's not just this guy claiming that, he proves it. I've seen the rating sheets. It was doing fine. The thing is, the studio didn't like Roddenberry, and they were trying to get rid of him. And so all the way through, so like the reason that the third season thing happened and it got thrown on Friday nights at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever it was, and it was like the death place to be to kill a show, wasn't solely because the fans tried really hard to resurrect it or to keep it going. So they said, okay, fine, we'll keep it going, but we're going to put it in this death trap time slot. They didn't like Roddenberry because he was constantly trying to slip things by them and get away with things in a show that they didn't want him to do, and he was really pushy and really difficult to work with for them, but he had to be that way because it was the only way that he could do the kind of show he wanted to do, and he still had to make compromises. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about it for now. I mean, there's 1,000 things to talk about with this. It's like I know more about Jeffrey Hunter now than I ever thought I would. There's a lot of really, really interesting things in this. So right now, pretty much just recommending it and telling you what it's like. Eventually, when I finish it, I will do a more in-depth kind of discussion about it. And anyway, that's what I've got. But boy, here's a thing I never thought we'd have.
What a clever name.
If it weren't the name of the terrible last episode of Enterprise, but
fair enough.
But yeah. No, it's a really good name for it. I just wish that wasn't the name of that Enterprise episode. Anyway, well, everybody, thanks as always for watching. Sure hope you enjoyed it. I am Captain Logan,
And I am Vince.
and we will recommend something for you once again next week.